right now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 30th day of June in the Lord's year 2016. I am J. Michael McCoy, and you are very blessed. I appreciate you listening today. We've got some local stories that are kind of making some noise, and it's your voice I want to hear in these. The big story is that the Iowa Supreme Court has upheld a ban on felons voting in Iowa. The court issued its ruling Thursday morning in the case of Kelly Jo Griffin, a felon convicted of drug charges. She landed in court after trying to vote in 2013. The court examined the scope of infamous crimes as used in Article 2, Section 5 of the Iowa Constitution. It ruled that all objective Today's standard of infamy supports the conclusion that an infamous crime has evolved to be defined as a felony. This is the community standard expressed by our legislature and is consistent with the basic standard we have used over years. It is also consistent with the constitutional history, text, and purpose of the provision. Felons in Iowa can have their voting rights restored, but the process is lengthy and a complicated one. On and on and on and on. So that's the question for the day. Should Iowa felons be granted their voting rights? Because the Iowa Supreme Court just said no. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why someone who has been convicted of a crime, done their time, can't walk into a voting booth and vote. Now, was there crime voter fraud? I mean, I get that. You don't let a pervert around the little kids. You don't let a guy who embezzles money to, be a CPA for a company. I get that. But what? And you know what? As a conservative, I kind of like this ruling. Because for the most part, people who commit felonies usually land on more of the liberal side. Now, there's going to be people that will disagree with me all day long for that, and they'll have this, well, I know this guy, and I know this girl, and that's unfair of you. That's, no. You know what I'm talking about. So what do you think, Chris? And I'm not asking you whether you agree with the Supreme Court, because, I don't know who I am to disagree with the Supreme Court. I just seem that if a guy, it's kind of a backbone of our society, our republic here, is that you get a vote. One vote, one man. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's interesting. What I think back to is one of the things that came up on this broadcast, I think it was this week. There was a time in the United States when you couldn't vote if you weren't a landowner.
Right. Yep.
And I think it was Kerry Peterson from Northern Lights Pizza who called in and brought that up. And he made the strong point that we have been negatively affected by allowing non-landowners to vote.
It's because it's the idea that everybody needs skin in the game. And you can't have a bunch of people who don't have skin in the game voting for free giveaway stuff.
Right.
But what is skin in the game? Owning land?
Well,
it's not owning it. It's how you use it.
Here's skin in the game.
But you're paying property tax, right? If I live in an apartment or if I'm renting a facility, I'm not paying property tax. So I'm paying less into the system.
Yeah, but still, it's one vote, one man.
Here would be skin in the game. The tithing process. God isn't going to distinguish between the guy making $1 or $1 billion. You'd pay 10% on everything. So the same principle could stand true in government, that if everybody's paying something, no matter how much their income, they've got skin in the game.
The confusion that I have on this is these should be based on this is a moral standing, right? Why should someone vote or not vote based on their character? Is what this really comes down to.
Yeah.
If you say someone who is a convicted felon cannot have their voting rights back, then you're saying why? Because they're convicted felons, so you're questioning their moral intent, and now you're deciding who can vote based on their moral standing.
Yeah, and I just don't agree with that.
But at a time in the United States history, that was the way things worked. I mean, you had to be a fine, upstanding landowner, blah, 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 blah. I think things have changed now.
Frank?
I have no problem either way, but I think it ought to be across the United States. It ought to be something in all 50 states, because obviously the people who want felons the right to vote generally are liberal. And you notice that the liberals aren't anxious to give them their gun rights back, but they are awful anxious to give them their voting rights back. That's because they think that generally the felon, the Democrat liberals being softer on crime, more anti-police, more military establishment, anti-authoritarian is the term I was trying to think of. That the criminals would go, or the potential felon would go that way instead of voting conservative. So I have no problem if you reinstate their right to vote after a certain time frame or not. I just think it should be consistent across the United States and not, left to the states.
Well, now wait a minute. Now you're putting your big toe into state rights. That's unfair. So if I want to vote, I move to Iowa, or if I want to vote, I move to Nebraska, and if I don't care, then I'm in Iowa. I cross a river.
Well, if they're going to be voting on federal things, it should be a federal
right.
Federal right. I mean, in other words, yeah.
But voting isn't just on federal things. Voting is on local sheriff and dog catcher and amendments and bills and laws and everything else.
I agree, but you would get into more bureaucracy to say, I'm going to, in the state of Iowa, you can, as a former felon, you can vote, let's say. In Iowa, you can do that, but you can't do that in Nebraska. Well, if you lived in Nebraska and you're a former felon, you move to Iowa and you vote for president. But you couldn't do that if you were in Nebraska. That's inconsistent.
All right.
And then to make that consistent in some way, you would have to have all kinds of more bureaucracy. And I'm not a fan of more government at all. So I want less. I just want government to enforce the laws. Here's my question, Frank or Mac. I don't know about this story. Is how were things before this decision came down? Was a felon? Did anything change with this?
No. They upheld a ban. So Kelly Jo Griffin took this to court, said she tried to vote in 2013 and she couldn't because she's a convicted felon. Okay, that's because that's what the law is. So Kelly Jo Griffin challenged that law, and the Iowa Supreme Court said, nope, we like it the way it is.
I just
don't understand what voting and having a felon, and I don't have a felony. I'm not defending myself or anybody that I know of. Do I know anybody convicted of a felony? Oh, I'm sure I do. Why are you looking at Frank that way?
He's looking at Bob.
I was looking at Bob.
Oh, Bob. Are you convicted of a felony?
No.
Of course you would say that. You would never admit it on the radio.
But we don't know. Maybe we should bring in the polygraph.
Yes.
So when did you stop beating your wife? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, Robert. All right. So the thing that I don't understand is, what does the two have to do with each other? What does voting have to do with being a felon? Because you're right, it's a moral judgment. We're saying this person has vacated his right to vote in an election.
I wonder if it's the difference between a right and a privilege. Maybe that's the reality.
Yeah,
maybe the fact of the matter is it's not a right, it's a privilege to vote. And you lose the privilege to vote by becoming a convicted felon. And if that's the case, then yeah. The question is really, is it a right or a privilege? That's really what we've got to decide.
Somebody who has broken the law would have some influence over the people that vote to make law. That would be the principle. Somebody who has broken laws to become a felon then would have a vote and a say over who is making law.
Think about that for a minute. That's a big deal, Frank.
Yeah,
that would be a big deal if you try to boil what you just said down to something small. Saying here's the law of the land says you can't steal cupcakes on a Tuesday, and you are caught stealing cupcakes on a Tuesday, you serve your sentence, you get out, and now somebody's running to change that law, you're going to vote in favor of changing that law.
To steal cupcakes on Tuesday.
To steal cupcakes on Tuesday not being a crime anymore. That's why you don't want felons or ex-felons voting, Mac. That's the defense for it right there.
Right there.
Tell me again. Well, I was looking up on
he always says, tell it to me like I'm a sixth grader or a 6-year-old or something. I just did it about stealing cupcakes. How much more like a sixth grader can I explain this?
I just Googled.
You got distracted.
You would tell your daughter that analogy.
That's how I would explain it to my daughter.
No, I was Googling, is voting a privilege or a right? And the answer is yes.
Who gets in trouble all the time for playing on their cell phone?
That's right. He was Googling it, though. That's okay. My point, and Frank really made this point, and if you're a convicted felon, that means you broke the law.
Well, you broke. Yeah,
you broke a law.
Well, no, you broke a very important law, because speeding is breaking the law, and you're not a felon. So it's got to be, what is it, a class 1, Bob, or what? How do you determine a felony?
I don't know what the law says on that.
All right.
Okay, but your point is valid. It's not a small thing. So being a felon is not a small infraction. It's a larger infraction. And if you violated a law, you broke the law, then having the ability to vote after you've served your time, you're more likely to vote in favor of removing the law that put you in prison to begin with. That's why you wouldn't want ex-felons voting. Because on principle, and that my analogy was, if it was against the law to steal a cupcake on Tuesday and you did it and you went to jail, you served your time, when you got out, if someone ran to remove that law, you would vote in favor of removing that law because you want to steal cupcakes on Tuesday.
515-244-0077. That's the studio line. The Service Legends text line is 515-809-0993. Your text, your voice coming up live here on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. 21 minutes after 3:21. You know who I call for real estate, don't you? Yep, Seth Walker, 577-3728. It's Seth that knows how to do it professionally. It's Seth that has all the toys, all the tools to give you exactly what you need in you looking for property. So call Seth Walker, 577-3728. Tell him Matt Olson sent you. All right, voting rights. Remember the call we had the other day? We were talking about this for some reason, and a guy called up and said that he couldn't get a fishing license to go fishing with his grandson. Yeah. Because the DNR, because he had a felony, and the DNR was going to make him jump through a whole bunch of hoops. I find it surprising that the Iowa Supreme Court upheld this so easily. Because as you said earlier, well, we thought maybe the issue was a moral issue. If you're a bad boy, then you shouldn't be able to vote. Now, that's ridiculous. That's neither Christian nor is it American. But so then you move on to what Frank said, and that is that, well, the felons will vote for people who will get rid of the laws that put them in jail. But that's ridiculous.
Well, you got people out there who's trying to decriminalize marijuana, drug usage. So obviously, if you were somebody that got sent to the pen for, drugs, drug addiction, drug selling, drug usage, you would generally want to vote for that person who's looking to decriminalize.
Yeah, but that's not the point in voting.
What do you mean? That's exactly the point in voting. The whole point of voting is that you vote for the person who you believe is going to make the change or uphold the things that you want. Follow your values. So if you want drugs to be legal, and you got in trouble for that, you're definitely going to move in that direction.
515-244-0077. Come on, people, wake up. Wake up. It's your voice I want to hear. 515-244-0077. Jebediah will answer the phone and get you on the air. Also, you can text us from the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993.
Yes, I do have some text here.
Oh, good.
Voting rights. I do not think felons should be allowed to vote. Actions have consequences. On that subject, I think if criminal penalties were completed, no time off for good behavior, you're supposed to be good, no cable TV, no air conditioning in jail or prison, I think people would think long and hard before risking jail or prison.
Yeah, that was my train of thought. Let me see here. I can commit this crime, and if I do it and I get caught, I lose my opportunity to vote. Oh, what? No air conditioning? Oh, what? No cable? Oh, well, now I'm absolutely not going to commit the crime. I don't care about my voting. I just want my AC, baby. I don't think there's anybody out there in their right mind. I'm sorry. I'm being mean to the listener. I don't mean to be mean to the listener. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. I have that same train of thought that, we make it too easy for them, too comfortable for them. And then you get the liberals over there that, you're talking about human rights, and I guess cable TV is a human right. I don't know. Let's go to the phones. Travis from Baboon. Travis, you're live in Max World. How you doing today, Travis?
Hey, I'm pretty good, Max. I'm a convicted felon who became a Christian, and I'm kind of biased, so my opinion is moot on this point, but the one thing I would point out is most people who are committing felonies aren't going to vote anyway. They're not. Until I became a Christian, this is the first time that I've ever cared about who gets elected office, because now I'm caring about that sort of stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Although,
so most people who are going to try to vote are probably no longer in that life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. So I put myself in a position where I've committed a felony, I've been convicted, and I no longer could go into the booth and vote on election day. Now I'm mad. I mean, I know I shouldn't have committed that crime, and I know that I had to be held responsible for my actions. So I do my crime, I then do my time, I'm released by the state, but I can't vote. I don't know, man. I don't know. That sounds very manipulative.
Me too.
What?
Yeah. It almost seems like double jeopardy. I guess, like I said, I don't feel like that I have an unbiased opinion on this because I wish I could vote. However, I lost my right when I committed my felony. But what I can tell you is, having spent 32 years of my 36 years of life running in criminal circles, none of those people are thinking about voting.
Yeah, they don't care, do they?
The ones generally who got out and have committed a felony in the past who are thinking about voting, there's a reason why that train of thought is there. It's because they have changed their life. Otherwise, why would they even care?
Yeah, right. You somehow, the renewal of your mind, as Paul talks about in Romans, just all of a sudden now it's, I have an obligation to my community to cast my vote and have my moral opinion heard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Travis, I appreciate you. Thank you. 515-244-0077. Let's go to Jeff from Des Moines. Jeff, what do you think? Did the Iowa Supreme Court do the right thing and say felons can't vote, or should we re-examine this sometime soon?
Definitely re-examine it sometime very soon.
And tell me why.
I was listening to what Travis was saying, and he put it great. People that don't care aren't going to care anyway. And if you, what spurred me to call in was I am a felon. I did recover my voting rights, but
how did you do that?
Well, it was a different administration.
Yep.
A long time ago.
Yeah, it'd probably be easier under what was it, Culver?
No, it was Vilsack.
Vilsack, okay.
Yep. But,
Jeff, did you recover all your rights?
No, and I'm in the process of trying to gather the forms to actually get 100% rights back. But it is a heck of a process.
Well, So then the government says, boy, it's going to be a bad day for Mac today. This government stuff just drives me crazy. Steam coming out of my ears. So then they say, oh, no, you can recover your voting rights. Just follow Section 295. And Section 295 is 295 pages of a bunch of bureaucratic goomba.
Well, I feel either you're rehabilitated and let back into society, or you're not.
That's right.
And the other thing is, if you're once a criminal, you're always a criminal. Well, how many people have driven under the influence of alcohol? Maybe it takes 3 times before you're a felony. Anybody that's got pulled over once has done it 3 times. I don't mean to put a big blanket over everybody, but
no, but there are those rare cases where somebody's at a dinner party or at a cocktail party and they happen to drink too much and they get caught, and that may be the only time or one of the few only times. But you're right, the majority of them are that way almost every night.
But so if you get arrested one time for drinking and driving, by what you guys were saying earlier, once a criminal, always a criminal, then you should never get your driver's license back ever.
Jeff, let me ask you a question. We said in the first segment there that if you violated a particular crime and someone was running for office to change that so that was no longer a criminal offense, the argument was made by me and I think Frank that a felon would be likely to vote in favor of removing that as a criminal offense. Jeff, do you agree with that? If that makes sense.
Not blanket. Not that blanket statement, no.
Okay. That's just too simple. I'm making it too simple.
Well, yeah, crime and punishment is quite a subject.
It is. There's a small book about it.
Let me ask this. You got a lot of people who would like to do drugs legally, and in our state, it's illegal to do drugs. And a lot of these people have got sent to the penitentiary on drug charges. If they get out and they're wanting to do drugs again and do them legally, but the system is preventing that because of their having to drop UAs, then aren't they going to vote for
Frank?
I don't necessarily believe that to be true. If you want to follow the law, you will go 70 miles an hour on the interstate if you want to be a law-abiding citizen. I travel a lot, and I see people buzzing by me like nothing. I go 70 miles an hour because I want to follow the law.
Do you really think there are people out there who don't do drugs just because they're illegal?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But they have to stay, when they get paroled out or they're on probation, they have to stay clean enough not to get thrown back in the clink. But they're waiting for the opportunity and the coast to clear that they can go back and fire up a quarter pounder. And I know those people.
Yeah, well, there are people out there like that. You can't legislate morality.
All right, I appreciate you very much, Jeff. 515-244-0077. Let's go to the Service Legends Truth Text Talk line at 809-0993. Robert?
Okay, what I have here. Felons who have paid their debt to society should have their rights reinstated. They have the right to vote as a U.S. citizen. That's one. Here's one that Chris is going to like. Chris Roloff, what would we do without you? You are so intelligent and have a way of getting to the bones of things. Chris rocks. And that's from Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay. I would happily give you a cupcake if I had
one. And here's another one. A felon forfeits the rights of citizenship when they have committed crimes against society. And, on the other hand, I do not think felons should get their voting rights back. In order to become a felon, a person has to break a huge law. We have to question their abilities to make a rational decision. I do think the process to regain their rights should be clear for those who have changed and learned.
Oh, okay. Oh, hold on. Back that puppy up. What do I have to be able to morally determine before somebody votes? They have to be what? What did that last text say?
They have to question their abilities to make a rational decision.
Oh, Chris, can we go there?
If you want to.
Can we jump in the little red flyer and go to competent people only should vote? Oh, my. Oh, my.
Oh, you're thinking of all these interviews on TV, these people in front of the microphone answering.
I think a lot from people that shouldn't have an opportunity to vote if we're going to question their moral and ability to make a decision. And I might be one of those at one point in my life.
I was going to say, I don't know if I passed the test at some point.
But
I think.
I still say, if we're going to give rights back, let's give them all back, including gun rights. I don't think we should cherry pick.
No. Now, hold on. Come on. Now you're swinging way too far to the right-hand pendulum, Mr. Trump. A felon has obviously shown that they don't make the best decisions all the time. Who does? Nobody does. But for some reason, as a society, we don't have a zero tolerance rule on if you do something wrong, you automatically go to jail. I mean, that just doesn't happen that way. But you can't give somebody who commits a violent crime who robs a get and go with pizza.
Let me give an exception.
And then give them a gun.
But what if? Let me give you an exception to that. Any gun that wasn't perpetrated, any felon who perpetrated a crime that didn't involve a gun. Now, if there was a gun involved, that's a different story.
How about a knife? How about a bat?
Yeah. Then I would say
how
no
about
problem.
a rubber chicken?
No problem.
How about just my fists?
No problem. Get your rights back.
All right, 515-244-0077. That's the number. We love to hear your voice. And obviously, you can also text us at the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. 10:30 last night, 911 caller heard gunshots. Oh, over there about East Grand and Hubble. Guess what they saw? We'll fill you in as we continue today. Hey, don't forget there's a revival coming, and we want you to be there. It's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I'm encouraging you to attend this year's Family Leadership Summit 2016 on Saturday, July 9th here in Des Moines. The event will feature Ann Graham Lotz, T.C. Stallings, Biblical Worldview expert Dr. Del Tackett, and more. Go to the Family Leadership and get your tickets today, and thanks for listening to The Truth.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
We have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. Breaking news from the New York Times. The Pentagon has lifted its ban on transgender people serving openly in the military, removing one of the last barriers to service. That, according to Defense Secretary Ashton B. Carter, Thursday removed one of the final barriers. I guess that's great.
Why was that a final barrier?
I don't know. I mean, you've got women who are serving now at almost, I think, all levels, front, everything. There's obviously no issues with people who are gay. And now we've with transgender. I don't is icky.
No, wait.
No more icky than what you do.
So you got a guy that signed up as a male in the military now can claim he's a female?
Sure, so he just moves over to the female bunk.
Okay.
I mean, how long are we going to beat this dog? I mean, we're beat on it. We know what it is in the Bible. We know what society has said, and bingo, here we are. So let's just get it all through. Let's light the White House up again in a rainbow, and I'm done with that. I don't know why I'm just so. Well, that was what my first op-ed was in the Register. I'm just tired. I'm tired. I can't believe that the 20 minutes a guy would spend writing a piece from the New York Times that says transgendered people lifted, or the Pentagon lifted its ban, if that 20 minutes wouldn't be better just preaching the gospel. Give me the same white space in the newspaper to tell people that Jesus saves and that Jesus loves them and they don't have to feel alone. They don't have to feel abandoned. They don't have to feel broken. They don't have to feel stupid or ignorant or lost or unloved.
Don't know if there was enough money you could buy New York Times space for that.
515-809-0993 at the Service Legends Truth text line. Bob Rooney.
Yeah, I have 3 here. Oh. And 2 of them are kind of directed to, anyway. I have been listening to you, and I'm wondering why you say such rude things about Frank. This is not Christ-like. That's number one. And the other one is, Frank, gun rights are fine. We all have Second Amendment rights. Background checks are where we keep guns out of the hands of violent.
Background checks.
Yeah. Those are important. Not that
Where do you get a background check on 6th Avenue about midnight?
I mean,
but that's law breaking anyway. That's irrelevant.
No. What? Come back at me. What?
He said, how do you get a background check on 6th Avenue in the middle of the night? If you're going to buy a gun illegally, you're going to buy a gun illegally.
Right.
So, I mean, that's ridiculous.
But lawful people should be required to do have a background check on them?
Sure, why not? Why is it such a big deal?
Well, they do that already.
Yeah, they do that.
That's already happening.
I don't know why that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, really, one of the things that's nice about that, just the waiting period, it ensures that people don't just get mad, go to Walmart, buy a gun, and go shoot somebody.
Right.
You got to give them a minute to cool down.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I want to make a comment to the other. So, Frank, you answer the question. Why is it that we pick on you so much?
I wouldn't know you love me if I didn't get picked on so much.
There you go.
So that's why.
It would seem weird, Texter, if it was happening to you and we wouldn't do it to you ever. But it's fun to do to Frank, and he smiles when he gets it.
And as Chris knows, some days he is the person getting hammered.
I came back into the studio from lunch, and Frank said, so what kind of stuff did... He said, how did Mac throw you under the bus yesterday? What was that thing he did to you? And we just were laughing about how you...
laughing with Steven.
We were laughing with Steven. You pick on both of us.
How did I throw you under the bus yesterday?
Well, you were kidding. You were saying that I'm for domestic violence. You said that yesterday.
You're the resident pro-Islam guy.
Yeah, you're the
resident liberal.
If we write down all the crazy things you've said, I say, and believe, it's quite hilarious. You're just having fun. It's Christ-like texture, I think, because we love each other, and I have never been in a room filled with guys that are more different and goofy and weird than this, and that actually get along. So
you talking about me?
I'm talking bad about you.
And besides, I looked at the number. It's Frank's mother.
515. Why are you picking on my boy?
244-0077. That's the number you can call in. 515-809-0993. I'm going to move on to a different story if I can here for just a minute.
That would cool. Yes, sir. Do it.
A woman was threatened at gunpoint in a parking lot of a liquor store, and a man was later found hiding inside a beer cooler. And yes, this is in Des Moines. A 911 caller heard gunshots Wednesday night at about 10:30 near the corner of East Grand and Hubble. They saw a silver, how do they know this? A silver 1999 Mercy Grand Marquis fleeing the area. A 1999, really? You know that? What, you would... According to the Des Moines Police Department, when officers arrived, they found two women in the parking lot of SQ Liquor in the 1800 block of Hubble. One of the women told police that they had gone inside the store but left without buying anything. When they were walking to their car in the parking lot, they saw a black car occupied by many people. Clown car. She said a male with short hair, approached them and allegedly pinned the victim up against the propane tank cage, asking her, "Don't you owe me something?" When she asked him who he was, the police report states that the man pulled out a gun and held it against her ribs. It then says that he told her, I could take your life right now. The police report states that people in the car then began yelling at him not to do it, saying, "This place is loaded with cameras, big bro." The suspect punched the victim with a closed fist on either side of her face. Officers noted in the report that they could see swelling in her left cheek and bruising on the inside of her mouth. This is just terrible. This is just terrible. Officers noted in the report that it is unknown if this man was involved in the incident outside or if he was just unlucky to be in the area when it happened. Sometimes I feel like Extra. You know that TV show, Extra, where you just read the dumbest stories. But you know why I read stories like this? To give me more things to pray about. Because I just want to go pray over that corner. I want to go pray over this poor woman that got beat up in the face. Maybe that's why God gives us bad news, huh? Because we just can't find enough bad in our own lives to go pray for, so we have to find the bad in other people's lives. All right. Oh, Chris, I think I'm going to disappoint you on this one. Do you like to eat cookie dough?
Raw?
Who doesn't?
Well, a lot of people know about the danger of salmonella poisoning from uncooked eggs in raw dough, but fewer may be aware of the danger posed by the flour. The Food and Drug Administration is now warning people not to eat raw cookie dough or batter because of raw flour. Dough for bread, cookies, pizzas, and tortillas, anything that contains raw flour, is also included in this warning. It comes in the wake of an E. coli outbreak linked to flour produced by General Mills that infected at least 38 people in 20 states. The company ended up voluntarily recalling 10 million pounds of flour. Flour is derived from a grain that comes directly from the field and typically is not treated to kill bacteria. That from a senior FDA official. She says bacteria from the animal waste could contaminate the grain in the field before it is harvested to be milled. What did we do? What did we do 100 years ago? When we grew corn and we grew beans and we grew grain and we made our own flour. And
do you remember the episode of Little House on the Prairie where they had to set the corn bin on fire because the mice had infiltrated the corn bin and it was so contaminated they had to burn it down?
Only you, Frank.
Only you.
Yes, Escherichia coli is a pretty bad thing. It's found in our intestines, just in case you wanted to know. And in the intestines of other animals.
E. coli is in your intestines.
I have E. coli in my intestines?
Yes, you do.
Really?
Yeah.
So why am I not sick?
It's only if you eat it.
Well, if it's in the intestines, how does it get there?
No, it's part of what we are. It's how it breaks down stuff. It's a bacteria.
That's your mind-blowing science lesson of the day. Mac McCoy, welcome. Homeschoolers, welcome as we discuss E. coli on 99.3 FM, The Truth.
Look at this cast of characters that I have around me. Just look at this. A whiz kid scientist. A bigoted Bible expert. It's all in Mac's World, baby. All in Mac's World, right here live.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcastonelive.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hey, don't forget, we've got a marathon Bible reading that is starting this evening in many of the counties across Iowa. And it takes about 88 hours at a normal pace to read through the whole Bible. And so there's going to be people that are going to volunteer either by the half hour, quarter hour, or full hour at the Dallas County Courthouse. Also, I believe at the Boone County Courthouse, or maybe just in Boone. And you could be a part of this. For more information, talk to your local courthouse or talk to a pastor and see if one of the local churches is running it.
You can actually sign up to be a reader. They definitely need folks in Dallas County. You can sign up online. faithatworkiowa.org is a website that you can use. So faithatworkiowa.org is a place where you can sign up by your county. There's a sign-up sheet.
The chapters I don't want to read is where who begat whom.
Yeah,
and all them difficult names.
Yeah, but that's why you don't read it in King James. Read it in some, get your copy of the Message
but that doesn't
Bible.
change the names.
Yeah,
the names of the people that begat whom begat whom.
That's true. They probably won't read those bits.
Boone County Courthouse is going on all day, and it's through Sunday, says Jill King. And do you know anybody in your studio that's left-handed?
Me.
Bob.
Why does that make a difference?
I don't know. Bob, you left-handed?
Because I'm in my right mind.
All right, so E. coli, which apparently we already have inside of us, according to Dr. Bob. But how did it get there again? Did we eat it or did we produce it?
We produce it. It gets in there and it does its job.
And what's its job?
Break down waste.
Okay, then why is it if I get it from another place, it's bad for me?
Because you eat it. And you shouldn't be eating it.
I'm just so lost. Okay, so here I've got E. coli in my intestines.
Right.
Right? And when I eat something that has E. coli in it, where does it go? To my intestines.
Yeah, but it wreaks havoc. Whoa. It causes all kinds of problems before it gets there.
Think about fire. It's kind of like fire, Mac. Fire belongs in the fireplace. If fire is in the studio outside the fireplace, it's no good. It would wreak havoc here. The E. coli that's in your body belongs in your small intestines. It doesn't belong in your stomach. It doesn't belong in your esophagus. It doesn't belong in your mouth, right? It doesn't belong in other parts of your body. It's just the appropriate place for it.
This is why, Shane, I did not do well in biology. I didn't even dissect the little frog very well.
Yeah, I took 2 years of college biology, and I couldn't even answer that question for you.
Yeah, I got in trouble from Mr. Spencer in the 8th grade. So you're
you had a good time there.
It
huh?
is. So you're supposed to take the little frog,
right?
And you put him on his back, and so he's got pins through his little, what do you call them, froggy paws?
Yes.
Okay. This is just going to sound horrible. This is just horrible to say, but remember, I'm in 8th grade and I don't have a relationship with Jesus. I said to Mr. Spencer, look, they crucified the little froggy, and I got kicked out of class.
Well, we dissected cats in college.
Ooh.
And I named mine Mittens.
Mittens? Oh, let's not get into cats because a lot of people love cats and their cats are fine. All right, so what's the moral of the story, Chris? Don't eat cats.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't even remember what launched this story anymore.
No, we're not supposed to eat cookie dough. And that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing.
It was about don't eat cookie dough, but it's temporary. It was that General Mills had some bad flour that went out that hurt some people. It'll be fine. You can eat flour. And if you're really worried about it, grow your own.
Flour?
Can be done.
You grind the...
You don't grow flour.
Right.
Flour doesn't grow on a tree. You grow wheat and then you can grind it up and all that kind of stuff.
If you want to be like Pioneer,
Yeah?
Yeah.
If you're really worried about it.
I personally am not that invested in a loaf of bread.
I'm just going to Bebop's. That's just all I'm going to do. I'm going to get a double cheese with extra pickles and I'm home.
And be sure and pray over it.
All right. 515-244-0077. That's the studio line you can call on. Talk about being unengaged. Wow. Also, you can text us at the Truth text line at 515-809-0993. And one more story I want to share with you. LaJames International College got in a little trouble with the Iowa Consumer Fraud Act. And so they have agreed to a out-of-court settlement to forgive $2.1 million in student debt pay a $550,000 fine and submit to outside oversight as a part of a settlement agreement in a lawsuit alleging it violated Iowa's Consumer Fraud Act. The settlement resolves a consumer fraud lawsuit filed in Polk County District Court in 2014, alleging LeJames engaged in deceptive, omissive, and unfair practices in marketing, enrollment, and instruction. This settlement addresses certain past practices by LeJames that we alleged were simply unfair to many of its students, Iowa Attorney Tom Miller says. The settlement affects prospective and current students as well as former students who owe debt to LeJames. The cosmetology school encountered public scrutiny following a series of Des Moines Register Pulitzer Prize finalist editorials from 2013. Some of the kids were forced to drop out because LeJames pays itself first before they give the credit hours worked. Anyway, if you were in the middle of that, and LeJames has schools in Cedar Falls, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Fort Dodge, Iowa City, East Moline, Fremont, Nebraska, and in Mason City. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal.
And it says they did what specifically? I'm sorry.
I want to read it exactly. From the Register in 2013, multiple students who said they were not being given credit for the hours worked and unable to graduate on time. Some were forced to drop out because LeJames pays itself first with student loan and grant money, leaving them with no money for rent or living expenses. I don't know. This could be one of these things where it's really simple. And LeJames just, hair on a dog's back, not a big deal, but hair gets in your soup and it's a big deal.
A fine of $2.1 million.
$2.1 million.
That's not a small thing. I don't imagine.
They agreed to forgive student debt.
So future money.
Future money. Yeah. So this is their payables. No.
Yeah. Well, it's the money they will be receiving in the future. Yeah.
$550,000 fine. Mm-hmm. So they had $2.1 million that was going to come in from these kids, and these kids said, listen, you're not giving me my proper credit hours. And Tom Miller and the government came in and said, fine, you don't have to pay your student loan. And you're going to give the government $550,000. All right, we're going to take a break. Shane Vanderhart from Caffeinated Thoughts is here, and he has his agenda with some of the hot stories going on around the country.
I had no idea what I was talking about.
You do now.
Okay, my agenda.
5-minute show prep right here, live on the radio. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Remember, today, go home. The resentment that you carry so deep, so long, you don't even know you carry it anymore. Just give it to Jesus, would you please? Because as you forgive, you shall be forgiven.